Hello. Good evening, everybody. So, those of you that listened to the first part of Mr. Pent's balls, hope you enjoyed it. So we reached the part, didn't we, where they were talking about the worst clubs at school. So we're going to read on tonight. Now, this is quite a long chapter, so we're going to do it in 3 parts. So this is part 2. You ready? Apologise if you can hear something squeaking and barking. I seem to be sitting on a dog that's making noises. Not a real dog, I'd like to add. It's a toy. When Master Pent spotted a huge steel ball, he was eager to put to the test this whole circumference diameter nonsense. As he fumbled in his pencil case for his ruler, he failed to see that this huge steel ball was, in fact, swinging straight towards him at speed. Whoosh! It was meant to destroy an old block of flats that was standing right next to him. Instead, it struck the boy on the head. Hard. Really hard. Clonk. Oh, the dog squeaked. Master Pent was knocked out cold. That was just as well, as the ball batted him into the air. It went whiz. Doof. He flew, interestingly enough, exactly 3.14 miles before smashing through the roof of a shed in a back garden. Oops. Master Pent didn't wake up until a whole week later. He discovered he was in hospital with an incredibly sore bandaged head. Ouch, he yelped. My head hurts. The boy had to keep the bandage on for 6 whole months and looked as if he were wearing a nappy on his head. Look. Ooh. Ha! Nappy boy, laughed the other kids. He harumphed. Ever since the fateful day of his accident, Pent detested balls of any kind. The sight of anything round was enough to bring back terrible memories of that great big steel ball. Clonk! So when he grew up and became a maths teacher, Mr. Pent was dismayed to find that in St. Aub's school, where he taught, there were balls, and more balls, each one reminding him of the worst day of his life. Balls here, balls there, balls everywhere. In the playground, footballs, tennis balls, even ping pong balls would bounce at him from every angle. Boing, boing, boing. Oh, the balls. On spotting one, his eyes would all but pop out of their sockets. His face would go a shade of purple. His glasses would steam up and his comb-over would stick up on end. Balls! Mr. Pent would shout as he foamed at the mouth. The teacher's hatred was so great that he stuck warning signs up all over St. Aub's. On every wall, door and window, he even stuck one to the dinner lady's bottom. He said, no balls allowed in the playground. No balls whatsoever within a 100-mile radius of the school. This last rule was hard to enforce, even if, being a maths teacher, he knew exactly what 100-mile radius covered on a map, using his compass and ruler, of course. Mr. Pent would confiscate all balls on the spot. Then he would lock them up in his special ball cupboard at the end of a long corridor next to his classroom. The sign read, Ball cupboard. Caution. Contains balls. Over the years, Mr. Pent stuffed hundreds and hundreds of balls of all sizes in there, and there was hardly any room for more. If any pupil dared ask him, please can I have my ball back, sir? The teacher would smirk to himself before replying, of course, child. Thank you, sir. Just one moment, if you please. Then he would reach into the cupboard for the ball and pop it with a pair of compasses that he had concealed with his hand. Poof! The air would spurt out like a lazy bottom burp. One of those bottom burps that is in no hurry to leave, it seeps out over a period of seconds, minutes, hours, days, weeks, months, or even, in extreme cases, years. These ones are hard to blame on others. Short, sharp ones have an element of surprise, and a dirty look at someone close by is enough to deflect blame. So a close friend informs me. I'm going to move. Keep knocking this teddy. There you are, Mr. Pent would say as he handed the deflated ball back to the child with a grin. After he'd finally confiscated every single last ball from every child in the school, Mr. Pent went further. Now, anything spherical was on his hit list. The teacher stalked up and down the school, confiscating everything that was round. Marbles, balls, these are mine. A space hopper from under a pupil. Boing, balls, that's confiscated. Who's taken that? Naughty. A gobstopper from the mouth of the gardener. Balls, spit that out. The globe from the geography classroom. Balls, balls are forbidden on school premises. A suspicious-looking pea in the dining hall. Balls! That pea could have an eye out. A string of pearls from round the neck of headmistress, Mrs. Stade. Balls! Headmistress! Balls! You of all people should know better. Balls! It was a confiscation cavalcade. Pent was on a roll, which was odd for someone who hated everything that rolled. Things came to a head that day. The day a boy named Roland, who happened to have a rather round head, faced the full force of Pent's fury. Balls! The globular shape of your head is in contravention of school rules. But, sir, protested Roland, it's not my fault that my head is round. I was born this way. No buts, boy. You and your head are confiscated. With that, Pent picked up the boy, tucked him under his arm, and marched off down the school corridor before stuffing him in the cupboard. Look. Squish, squash, squeesh. Bolt. Knock, knock, knock. Let me out, cried the boy. Please, I have exams. Not until your head changes to a squarer shape. Balls. Needless to say, this was the tipping point for the pupils at St Albans. With their friend Roland still stuck in the cupboard, they were now furious with Mr. Pent. It was impossible to live under his tyranny for any longer. The most rebellious of all the pupils was a girl named, as luck would have it, Rebel, who lived up to her name with her individual take on school uniform. She had hair scrunchies, a skinny tie, she wore pop group badges, short blazer, puffy skirt, she had graffiti on her school bag, chunky shoes and colourful socks. You see. She decided to hold a secret meeting of all the kids at the school. No teachers allowed. During a lesson, Rebel whispered in her best friend's ear, "Everyone meet after school in the park. Pass it on." This was passed on from one child to another. Soon the message became mangled. Park meet in the school after everyone. Meet after the park, everyone in school. School, everyone in the meet, park after. However, as soon as the bell rang for the end of school, ding, 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 a rushing river of children ran to the park. Rebel climbed on the top of the climbing frame to address her fellow pupils. The girl was a natural rebel rouser. You see her on the climbing frame. She spoke with an urgent energy that inspired all who heard her. "Have you had enough of Mr. Pent confiscating all our balls?" she cried. "Yes!" cheered the crowd. "Do you want to rescue Roland from the ball cupboard?" "Yes!" "Do we all need to get our own back on Mr. Pent?" "Yes!" "Are you with me?" "Yes!" Rebel expounded her plan. It was quite brilliant, but would only work if every single kid in St Albans played their part. And they would need to play it to perfection. That afternoon, all the kids left the park excited about what tomorrow would bring. The bell rang for lunch break the next day. Ring! As the kids streamed out of the school building into the playground, Mr. Pent was on the prowl, as always. "Balls, balls, balls," he muttered to himself, his eyes darting around to spot one. On Rebel's signal, it was time for the pupils to begin phase 1 of their plan. A group of kids began playing football. Another group started playing cricket. Still, more played hockey, tennis, bowls, ping pong, or even snooker. Any game you can think of that involves a ball. They played it as noisily and boisterously as they could. "Goal! Game, set and match. Pass the ball." Except there were no balls. Not one. The hundreds of kids were all taking part in a ginormous trick. Every single one of them was miming. Of course, Mr. Pent knew absolutely nothing of this scheme. How could he? The teacher could see all the kids running after a ball, kicking a ball, bowling a ball, hitting a ball, potting a ball. The thing was, he couldn't see a single ball. What is going to happen? I can see a ball has just flown past me. What is that? Well done for listening. Now, congratulations, you've reached part 2. Tomorrow night we're going to do part 3. Mwah! That was a long part, wasn't it? Stay safe. See you all. Bye, 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 bye. Night, night.